Hi, everyone. I'm Rachael Tarravechia, and I'm a SCAD painting alumni. I graduated from SCAD spring 2018, so it's been a little over 2 years now. I'm living and working in Brooklyn. I just moved into the studio, actually, really excited about the space. But today I will be showing you guys a little workshop on how to bedazzle, or my process at least. So the object that I'm going to be working on today is a New York Metro card. Here's the finished product. Here's the one I'll be working on. I won't be able to finish the whole thing tonight because a piece like this usually takes me like a whole day to do, but we'll see how much I can get done in 30 minutes. So first off, I feel like an important place to start is like what type of glue that you'll be using. I prefer E6000 because it's industrial strength and it's really thick. So it's really nice to work on that on sculptures, especially if like let's say I'm working on like a cup like this and I have to hold it, and just putting them on with like on like a vertical plane, the stickiness of the glue is like it really lends itself well to that. In the description, I had also included that that Aleene's glue is also good. That's what I originally started using with, and that I think is better on like a flat surface, like a painting, because the glue is a lot runnier, and even though it still creates a permanent bond, it's not as it just doesn't feel as hardy versus like an object where you can like not like you're touching. I would just prefer something that like just like feels a little bit stronger. So I'll be using the E6000 tonight, and they actually do make a special one that's like just for jewelry and beads. It's the same exact glue, but it's a kit that includes like little tips, and which are really helpful when you're putting glue on small objects and details like text, things that you want to keep really precise. You'll also want either an old paintbrush, this is how YouTubers do it, or something along the same thing that has like something that basically you can just smear the glue around to get it in the areas that you want. I actually have a kit that I haven't opened up yet, so this is what it looks like. You can just get it off of Amazon. Okay, so I'm gonna start by putting the cap on so I can use the tip. When I begin to do the Metro card, I'm going to start with text because you want to start with like the forefront, because if the rhinestones don't exactly align, then you want what's like in the forefront to be cleaner and crisper. I'm just gonna set some of these out to start with. And the glue usually takes a little bit like a little while to get out. Okay, there we go. You can also use like tweezers to place these stones, but I don't know. I think it's easier and like faster for me just to pick up a bunch with my like fingers and just use my nails to place them, since my nails are really long anyway. And you want to work in small sections because the glue dries pretty quickly. Sorry, my hands are shaking, so it's hard to work with these right now because I'm nervous. Okay, so how do I decide what items to bedazzle? I mainly look at color because I want something bright and like eye-catching, and also like the design of the package. Like if it has a good design, then it's a good design. It'll be pretty anyway versus something that's completely plain, because then it's not as interesting. I also just am like intrigued with text and packaging, consumerism. So referencing like big brands, something that I like to do a lot. I have a bunch of LaCroix cans, Pocky boxes. I've used Fluffer Nutter or Marshmallow Fluff a lot. I have a Lucky Charms box too. And the advantage of working with smaller stones versus larger is that I feel like you get more shine because it's more like there's more faces on the stones if like there's more stones. So that's also a way to know if a rhinestone is of like higher quality is how many times it's cut, because it'll have more shine, more reflection if it's cut more. But the obvious drawback between using small rhinestones is that it takes way longer. But I think it's all kind of like relative to what you're doing. Because when I rhinestone on my paintings, they're definitely like larger rhinestones, but it's like the ratio between the size of the object and the size of the rhinestones is still similar. So sometimes you just have to weigh if like the amount of time and materials is worth going smaller, if you should just work a little bit larger. Oh, I've never heard of a wax pencil before, but I'm definitely gonna look into it. But I normally don't have so many issues, but it's either my legs shake or my hands shake, and neither are very good for rhinestoning. But you always want to start on an edge also, just to make sure that the outline and like the silhouette of it stays crisp. Another tip for when you're painting, or like when you're rhinestoning a painting or like a photograph, anything that's 2D, you want to make sure that you fill in the area below with the desired color. Like for example, if I'm rhinestoning like a plant stem, I would want to paint it green before I start, because if you just like rhinestone like the pencil outline of it, there's gonna be gaps in between the stones regardless of like how small they are and like how tightly you get them glued together. And so it's always good just to have like the same color underneath, so it looks even more seamless. I usually get my rhinestones from the Swarovski. Is that how you say it? From like a retailer like that. So Etsy has a bunch of sellers that sell them in bulk, but there's also other brands that I like that are a lot cheaper, but I feel like have like good shine. Like there's one called Zeller, like Zeller. I think I mainly buy their clear rhinestones because those I've noticed that there's not like a huge difference in quality with. So I try to like pick and choose what colors I splurge on. And another thing that I usually try to do with like the clear color is that you can get clear and it's like, you know, it's like white, or you can get like clear AB. And I don't know what the AB stands for, but it's iridescent. And I think that just adds a lot more when you're doing something that's already like kind of plainish. Like these are all AB rhinestones. And so it's like depending on the way that the light's hitting it, it looks either purple or green. And I think that's just like a nice, like simple way to make it like just seem a little bit more sparkly than just a normal clear rhinestone. So again, that's AB. And going back to rhinestone sizes, they're like the unit that they usually show, it's like SS and then a number, and it's usually just like an even number. So right now I'm using SS6, and my normal is SS8 because I feel like it's the perfect size of something that's small but not like super tiny. It's like very versatile. So I usually stick between 6, 8, 10. But also I use 4 frequently to fill in little gaps. Okay, and I'll hold up what I've done so far after I get down to this little part that I just put glue down on. And don't worry if your like what you're rhinestoning kind of looks lumpy at first, because the glue, like if it's not evenly distributed, it can kind of look like that. But because the glue is self-leveling, it'll eventually come back down once it dries. And I think it takes, I mean, it dries pretty quickly, but I think it technically takes a full 24 hours to cure. So this is what I've done so far. It's looking good so far. Okay, more questions. What made you experiment and make art with rhinestones? I went to the Telfair Museum in Savannah in, I think, my sophomore year. And McLean Thomas had a couple of her paintings there, and I couldn't get over them. Like, they were so beautiful and inspiring. Just like the colors, the collage aspect, the rhinestones, the glitter. And I knew that I needed to look at her work more and know more about her and her process, because it just really spoke to me. And that inspired me to take the leap out of my comfort zone and to start experimenting with these craft materials. And then the following summer, or 2 summers later. Oh yeah. Okay, so that the following quarter is when I started to experiment with glitter, and I was still really nervous about it. I was using, they don't make it anymore, but it was this Liquitex, kind of see-through, iridescent top coat. So you could only really notice it if you were at an angle, and that was me trying to go out of my comfort zone. Although I quickly found out that if I were to go out my comfort zone, I really needed to go out and push myself. And so the summer in between sophomore and junior and senior year, I had an internship at a gallery in New York, and I didn't really paint that much that summer because I was trying to go to every gallery and museum that I could, and I saw other artists who worked with rhinestones and glitter, and just seeing more possibilities with how those materials are used. That's when it really clicked in my head, and I was really inspired. Okay, these edges are looking good. Okay, maybe I'll finish the M and then I'll start on a new section to show you guys. Yeah, the one thing that I don't like about this glue is, I don't know if it's because it's in an aluminum pouch, because when I use other tubes, it doesn't do this. It's if you barely touch it, it just keeps on leaking out glue. I don't know if it's because of how the pressure is distributed and it keeps on, I don't know, but half the time I start out with squeezing the glue on here, and then I either take my paintbrush or my little dowel thing and picking it up off of the surface and just putting it on here. And I'm working with a piece of tracing paper underneath because I don't want the glue to get on the table. And usually I work with just a piece of paper, or I don't know, basically anything that you can just set the glue on, and also your paintbrush, because that'll sometimes get stuck to the paper. Okay, what's the most challenging surface I've ever rhinestoned? I rhinestoned a cup of instant ramen, and I guess the glue was really harsh, and the styrofoam started to collapse. So I had to start on a new one and just like figure out like how much glue was too much glue because I think I was just like putting it on too heavy and too thick, and it was starting to melt, I guess, because it was like collapsing in on the sides. Um, I'll show you guys that piece at the end. It turned out well, but it was stressing me out. Is cool. Okay, so the M is almost finished. The nice thing about this glue though is that it dries fast, but it also gives you enough time where you can rearrange things if needed. Let's try to like squeeze in one more. Cool. So the M is finished, but now I'm going to start on the gold part to just like show you guys like going around it. And on this card, I didn't rhinestone in this like darker MTA part, mainly because I didn't have stones that were that color and small enough. Like I had like a lot larger ones, but I had to kind of like weigh if I wanted to compromise like the shape of the MTA for or like having it be there, because I knew that the stones that I had, they weren't going to be small enough where you could see the lettering. So I thought it'd be weird just to have like a brown circle there. But I have stones of the right size and color now. So maybe I'll do the gold. I'll actually start with the MTA. Yeah, and I never really worry about if the glue gets on another surface because, especially with something like this, everything's going to get covered at the end anyway. Okay, what artists are you currently inspired by? Jonas Wood is probably my number one inspiration currently. He has been for a while. I just like really admire his work and color palette, and some of like the way that or his like mark making has informed mine. So I look at his work a lot. Michelin Thomas. Like suddenly blanking on all the artists that I like. I'll think more about that one and get back to you. Oh, okay. Do I have any plans to venture into bedazzling clothing or accessories? Yeah, for sure. I've been really wanting to do like a pair of boots. Like I think a pair of cowboy boots would be really fun. But I've just had so many projects come up that I haven't been able to really play around with like just projects for fun. But that's something on my list for sure. I think that'd be really dope. I would also want to find or try to like figure out what the best type of glue would be for that, because I don't, even though this glue's really good, I don't know if it's suitable for everyday wear. So I'll have to do more research into that also. What crystal studs are I using or am I using? I'm using the Swarovski I think it's like, I think the color is called mocha brown. But yeah, they're really pretty. Brown is one of the colors where there's just like not a lot of good options that are cheap. Like these are actually the second set of brown rhinestones I've had to buy, because the first set that I tried buying, they weren't shiny and like reflective at all. So I just had to end up just like storing them away for I don't know what for the future, but so these are definitely worth the money, and I got them from a bulk seller on Etsy. Okay, thank you. Do you ever work with the companies of the products you glam? No, not yet. Really hoping for the future, because that would be really fun. I've had Pocky reach out on Instagram to see if they could like repost a photo of one of the boxes, and LaCroix has reposted a photo before, but that's it. But yeah, it'd be really fun to do like a collab, or even just like a stop motion for like an advertisement or something. Although I definitely wouldn't be skilled enough to do a stop motion. Okay, what would your dream project to work? I think a dream project of mine would probably be to help do like a window display for like Gucci or a fashion brand like that. I've just always have admired window displays, since a lot of those stores I do have like crazier ones I can't afford. So it's just like walking by and just staring at them has been a pastime. And it'd be really fun to be the person who puts it all together. And especially with a brand like Gucci, I feel like you could get away with a bunch of stuff, since they seem to be a little out there with like mixing patterns and materials. Yeah, and not just like kind of orchestrated and like say like what goes where and what's included, but actually like make the pieces that are going in there. Like I'm also a really big fan of like 80s furniture design and just like interior design in general. And it'd be really fun to be able to like make pieces that you rhinestone and kind of like glam out. I think my next series of paintings will actually focus a lot more on 80s interiors. I've already kind of started that, as you can see behind me. What inspires my color palette? Well, before, I feel like I used every single color that I could. My paintings were very vibrant, very bright, and like my or like the way that I would decide what color goes where was very like on the fly, and like, oh well, there's blue and there's purple next to it, so I'll just make it be like a purplish pink. Also, like not like very thought out, but this past job that I had, I mixed a lot of colors and learned more about like color like coordination and just like the subtleties of temperature and value. And so with this most recent series of paintings that are behind me, I really wanted to choose one color and kind of have more of like an analogous color scheme, and just like focus and like challenge myself to see like how many different like tones that I can get that are like different but the same still. So since pink is my favorite color, I decided to go like heavy on the pinks, reds, and purples. And so that's what I've only really been working with like pops of blue and green. What advice do I have for anyone making painting work as sculptures? I feel like there should definitely be like an organic connection or between like your sculpture work and paintings. Like how I started doing these like little sculptural pieces is because I was painting a lot in my studio at SCAD, and I would pound like a few LaCroix while I was in there, like every single day. But the cans were so pretty and like kind of matched the color palettes I was working with, so I kept them and kept just like stacking them up. And I was also painting them into my pieces, and it just kind of occurred to me one day that I should, like, if I'm rhinestoning and like painting LaCroix, then why not like do that to the actual cans? And now, and so now my work has like evolved from that. And I'm working on a Last Supper table right now with a bunch of junk food. And I've been like getting more into like using resin as well. And it's been really fun just experimenting. But yeah, I've like how I decide to like make a piece or like make like a sculptural piece of something is if I would paint it, because I still want them to have like a dialogue with each other and like have them be able to coexist in the same room without like feeling separate or like feeling like two different artists did them. Okay. So here's what I've done. So you can see the MTA at the top and 1M. Yeah, rhinestoning takes so long. Can't believe that's all I've done in this time. But yeah, so this is a whole day's work. But now I'll take my phone. I have it taped. Sorry if this is loud. I'm gonna flip it. Okay. So I thought I'd do a studio tour real quick. So I'm gonna flip it back. So here's the table that I've been working on. This table is usually up against here, but for the purpose of this workshop, I moved it here so my paintings were in the background. But so this is like a lot of stuff I've been working on for the sculptures and the Last Supper table that I mentioned. And here's the instant noodle that actually did work out. God, is that, oh my God, that took so long. Yeah, I'm making beer pong, and this is the resin that I've began working with. It was hard to find a mold that fits these because you can't just like pour the resin in because it would make like the cup melt because it expands with heat. So here's the series that I've started. This piece is almost done. Need to do some more work on the border. And here's a piece that has a lot of rhinestoning in it. It's zebra rug. And you can see how in this piece I really took advantage of like the different sizes. Like these rhinestones get super tiny here, but then in like the larger areas, I was really able to capitalize on the larger size and make it more time efficient. Here, some smaller pieces that I've been working on. Yeah, this piece kind of fits in with those with like the 80s aesthetic because this is a photograph from a what's it called? From a motel in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. This piece is still unfinished. I need to figure out what I'm doing with this. I think I'm gonna try to make a gradient using glitter to like kind of differentiate between these blacks and especially how it like overlaps here. But yeah, not to the 80s. Another small little piece. Another small little piece. And then I have this Astro Boy painting that I started. I just need to like touch it up in a few spots. But yeah, it's like it's getting there. That was because I did a couple of those interior paintings and I got kind of tired of having to like think so much and do like shading and perspective. So a flat like cartoon character was a nice reprieve from it. Okay, would I bedazzle a hamburger? Yes, definitely. I've actually just begun learning how to like preserve foods. I don't know how to know if I'm doing it correctly. So I guess only time will tell. But like here's a choco pie that was like a real one that I just took a bite into. But you only have to put varnish on it and it's supposed to it's supposed to make it airtight. So it won't really age, but you also run the risk of just having the outside be preserved, but then the inside, it still continues to decay. So fingers crossed that's not what's happening, but that's just a little experiment. I have the chocolate pies and then also have a Pop-Tart with like the inside of it has rhinestones in it. Yeah, and I don't know if anybody else ate their Pop-Tarts like this, where you ate all the crust and left the icing part for like last. Because best for last. There's any more questions? I'll pan over the table again once more. So, a lot of these items are partially finished. Like this container, I have a lot of glitter on it, but I was gonna do rhinestones on the lettering because you always want to do glitter first. Have a cake. Here's the Lucky Charms box that I started. Pocky boxes. More food. Oh, and I've also bedazzled wasabi peas because those are a staple in my studio. They're like the perfect snack. Okay, When I bedazzle a Nerf gun, they are very colorful. That would be a good object to bedazzle. Maybe. I wouldn't say no to anything, but it'll just depend on like the body of work that I'm making. Because right now it wouldn't really fit in with this series, but potentially. Okay. I'm so glad that people watched. And please tag me in whatever you made tonight. I'd love to see it. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a nice night and stay safe, and please go vote. Bye.